Hello, welcome to thepalacemate.com. I'm HJ. In this website, we show you Korean food with its most authentic and traditional ingredients and cooking methods. However, we do take into account that we live in North America, so we have modernized and modified some of the recipes to suit your needs. Okay, today we're going to start with what everybody knows and loves about Korean food. Beef. Now, this is very high quality kalbi or beef ribs. Who wouldn't love such a well-marbled, well-colored piece of beef? So, how do we marinate traditionally? Here, first thing we have is nice golden high quality flour honey, dark soya sauce for the coloration, and this is what we call 유자차 or citron tea. Citron is a fruit that kind of resembles grapefruit, and this marmalade can be used as a tea and as a meat marinade to give the meat a tangy, sweet taste. And for this one, if you cannot see it with your eyes, see it with your nose. This is black sesame oil, what is possibly the most fragrant oil in the world. And here we have a rather unusual ingredient. We call this Asian pears, or in Korea we call it 신고배. And here is everybody's favorite chopped up garlic. Okay, so we're going to start marinating now. Okay, here we are, ready to work. Now, first of all, well, it's kind of an unglamorous bottle, but that's what we need. White pepper. First, line the beef with white pepper. By the way, red chilies only came into Korea in the 1600s, and before that they used white pepper as a spicing ingredient. And then, secondly, we're going to use, of course, dark soya sauce. Okay. And then come the honey. Now, the honey will not only give it a sweet taste, but also it will help in caramelizing the sugar and giving the beef a very nice brown coloration after cooking. Now, we're going to have a rather unusual ingredient, as we mentioned. This is the peeled Asian pear. We're going to grate it. See how nice it is against the dark coloration of the meat? Okay, so spread it evenly again. Last bit. Now, of course, we're going to add the indispensable garlic. So, I know it sticks to your hand, but try to be dexterous as possible and spread it out evenly. Now, we're going to lock in, quote unquote, the garlic pieces, or the chopped garlic, with citron tea. This marmalade-like looking marinade here. Okay, now, as for sesame oil here, we know that it will dissipate while cooking, so we add it just before serving. Okay, so basically, we have marinated the top side of it, and, well, just now I was just trying to look good. Now I'm just going to make sure that the underside gets marinated too. So lift it a little, make sure, that the underside gets the sauce too. We're ready to cook. Hope you're hungry. Okay, now we're going to use the rather unglamorous regular cooking oil to line the pan first. Okay, the pan should be pretty hot by now. Now, the kalbi is a little bit long to fit into the pan, so just fold it a little bit here first. It's okay. Now we're going to bring it onto the pan. Make sure it doesn't drip around. Doesn't drip around too much. Yep, perfect size. It's pretty quick. You see, because slits were already cut in this kind of kalbi when you bought it, so it cooks very quick. Now, you see that the bone is a little bit like squished out here? Don't worry about it. As the meat cooks a little bit more, just fold in the bone. Very, very convenient. Since there's very little meat on the bone, we can fold it out again. See, it's already brown. And just make sure we don't neglect to cook the underside of the meat here. Now, I think we could cut. Just too bad we can't record the smell as well. Now the color is really nice and it's ready to be served. Okay. Now let me try to put it on as nicely as possible onto this bed of cabbage. Now we're going to do the second one. So just make sure it doesn't drip around too much. Make sure it doesn't drip around. Now, as this cooks, I can show you a funny method of deglazing. Well, I know I didn't peel this pear, but don't worry, it's very clean. Very nicely, get some more pear juice on. See? If it's just a little, don't worry about not peeling the pear. And when we flip, I'm going to finally show you what to do with the pine nuts. Okay, now everybody must have wondered, what are we doing with the pine nuts here? Now, in most Korean restaurants, the most frequent garnish you'll see is sesame seeds. But here, we're going to go high class. We're going to use pine nuts in the tradition of royal cuisine. By the way, Koreans usually don't toast their pine nuts, and the hallmark, almost like the symbol of royal cuisine or Korean haute cuisine, is pine nuts. So, we're going to chop up the pine nuts. Okay, so this is the minimal requirement, minimal fineness for the chopped up pine nuts, or 잣가루 as we call it. Now, but okay, here we have our famous 왕갈비 or royal kalbi. And of course, it needs a royal garnish. This is our lovingly chopped up pine nuts. Now, we're going to go elegant and not put too much. And by the way, before you put on this garnish, remember, we need a little bit of sesame oil to stick it on, okay? So, we're done now. So, enjoy this royal feast fit for a king.